All right. Hello, everyone. This is Omer with iVision. Hope you are all doing well. Guess we can go ahead and get started here. As always, you should see my screen, and everyone's been muted. So if you have any questions, you want to use the chat bubble in the Join Me app, and then I'll be reviewing those chat messages here on occasion, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that come through as we go through the call here today. All right. So we previously had our previous call on March, right around March 15th, I think, March 23rd, March 24th, right, as things were being really impacted with the coronavirus and the economy shutting down, and I think 3 months later, I'm not sure we're out of the woods just yet, but I thought this was a great opportunity to not only kind of look back at the previous 3 months of activity and just share some insights with you, as well as cover some new features that we've just launched and are in the process. So we'll get started here. And our topics for today's call, again, the COVID-19 update, where we stand today. We're going to look at the new reseller pricing schedule. I will just put it out there that we have not changed any rates. The rates are really consistent with what all the rates have been, and on our previous call when we launched MMS, we introduced kind of a new rate schedule, but we've reorganized it, so I'll walk you through that. We're going to talk a little bit about the Canadian short code 70734 and the changes happening with Rogers Wireless to those that might be affected by that. We're going to recap prohibited and restricted content, and we're going to talk about the new support ticket system that we just launched, as well as new features and other projects that are currently in progress. So first off here, iVision COVID-19 update. So in the past 3 months, since March of 2020, for iVision resellers, we have reduced license fees per the adjustments made to your active users. So if you've reduced your active users, we've reduced your license fees, and we've also kept your messaging rates lower despite the reduced volume of messages. So those that were doing 150,000, that were getting 150,000 messages a month and getting a certain rate per message, if your volume dipped down to 70,000 messages a month, and now technically your rate is different, we tried to keep everybody at the lower rates, those reduced rates. So we've kind of kept that going. We'll probably be revisiting that here, and either on this invoicing or in the next invoice, we'll see kind of where everybody's volume is. But just know that for the last 3 months, this has been pretty consistent across the board. And then for iVision users, we have paused billing and service for a handful of accounts, about 15 or so accounts, users. And those paused accounts have since resumed service, I think maybe with the exception of maybe one, but I think maybe all of them have resumed service. And then during that time, we also doubled our messaging credits to our active clients. So we wanted them to, really leverage the system, utilize the text messaging, and so we gave them double the messaging credits. So that's kind of our landscape over the last 3 months. We did lose, coincidentally, about 10% of our user base, users and resellers kind of combined, either businesses that have closed permanently or people that just weren't utilizing the system very much anyways. So when we previously had our call, we looked at this chart, and we looked at the activity of messaging in January, for the time period of the 15th through the 23rd. I don't know if you guys recall this. And then February the 15th through the 23rd. And then we had our call on March 24th, and we also looked at the 15th through the 23rd of March. And if you recall, there was a substantial increase in messaging for that time. And when we fast forward 3 months and we kind of look at what has transpired since, it's really interesting. This is a rolling average graph that shows kind of a rolling average messages sent per day. And you'll notice that the peak of that messaging was on March 20th, and then the trough here, the bottom, was on April 14th. And so, you had this huge run-up, which we showed you on the previous chart, of messages, and then right around things shutting down is kind of when you started dipping back down. And then as the economy has kind of started to rebound and reopen, you see that the rolling average messages per day is starting to kind of progressively climb back up. So this is a snapshot of February 15th through May 30th, but if you look at really just this range here, this range really kind of encapsulates the month or so following the shutdown. And then if you zoom out and we look at the year as a whole, this is actually pretty cool. We started really taking a close look at our messaging activity and our daily messaging volume, and really just maintaining a certain level of insight into that traffic that happens on a daily basis. And you can see here the daily rates, daily messaging totals overlaid, and then the rolling average kind of overlaid on top of that. And so the previous graph really narrowed it down to this 215 through 415 mark, but you can see that, and there was definitely a muted volume here during this time, and you can see that these increases have kind of started to continue back up. There's a day here where we did 1.2 million messages, just under 1.25 million messages, which is pretty impressive. So we are continually monitoring activity and ensuring that messaging activity is healthy for our business and our clients' businesses. And I think as long as we stay in this kind of 400 to 500,000 range, then things are looking really good. We also look at average messages sent day of the week, and these are just stats that we want to share with you guys, so you can see the health of our business as a whole. And currently, we're doing about 418,000 messages a day, about 12.7 million messages per month. And then this represents a 9% increase year over year versus our traffic last year. So on a whole, business has increased, obviously as a testament to you guys growing your businesses. And lastly here, we want to look at new users per month. So we're typically around 200 new accounts per month that get registered in the system, and you can see that in April and May there was a substantial drop. We dipped down to the kind of the low 100s, but back in June we climbed back up to 200. So pretty healthy in terms of new account activity coming in the pipeline. All right. Let's move forward to a new reseller pricing schedule. So again, just to reiterate, there's been no changes to the current messaging rates, but we have introduced a new pricing schedule that really is just organized a little bit more efficiently and clearly. And it addresses the variations in rates for United States versus Canada, short codes versus 10-digit long codes versus toll-free numbers, and then SMS versus MMS. And there's substantial variations here across all these categories. And so now we've kind of organized the pricing by the method of delivery. So it's broken down by short codes, by 10 DLCs, by toll-free numbers. When we post this webinar in the reseller portal and the PDF or the PowerPoint that goes alongside it, you'll be able to click here and see that pricing schedule. We'll also email it out via email as well, so you have it accessible to you. And again, it's just laid out differently. So just to walk you through the pricing, the reseller license fees at the top. And what we've done here is we basically combined the $15 SSL cost into the license. So those of you that are seeing $175, $275, $325, and $500 on your invoices, that's because you have the $15 as a separate SSL. We've just kind of bundled it in just for simplicity here. And then you'll notice that the delivery method is next, right? So you have shared and dedicated short codes, and you have the messaging rates, and then you have the carrier fees. And then you have it broken down by SMS and MMS and by by country. So there's a lot going on there. There's US, Canada, SMS, MMS, and then you have the delivery method, which starts with shared and dedicated short codes, but then you have 10 DLCs and the same structure, right? United States, Canada, SMS, MMS, and then tariffs are below, and then text-enabled toll-free numbers, okay? And what we did is we kind of capped it at 2 million messages because there's really only a handful of you that are sending above 2 million, and those that have their rates already kind of established and they know what their rates are. So when people get to this tier here and they're worried about what their cost is above that, just reach out to us, and obviously we'll share that with you. But the majority of licensees are not in the 1 million, 2 million mark. All right. And then text-enabled toll-free numbers. And then on the a la carte services, you'll notice that we've actually waived now the setup fee for 10 DLCs and text-enabled toll-free numbers. So we really want to encourage that push to transition to text-enabled toll-free numbers. And so we've waived that. We've switched providers. We were able to kind of rework our cost structure with those. And so the one-time setup fee for 10 DLC and text-enabled toll-free numbers has gone away. And we're also in kind of the beginning phases of building that functionality into the platform. So when you register a new user, you'll be able to either register a text-enabled toll-free number or a 10 DLC directly through the platform, or even port over an existing number directly through the platform. So you won't need us to manage that process for you. You'll be able to do it directly in the platform. But that's still, I would say, a few months away. And there's a question here about how come we show MMS for Canada under 800 numbers. And that is because MMS is supported on toll-free numbers to Canadian handsets, but it's not on short codes. So that's the distinction there. All right, which actually brings us to the next topic here, which is Canadian short codes and Rogers Wireless. So unfortunately, Rogers Wireless has basically indicated that they are no longer supporting general use codes on their network. And a general use code is basically the Canadian term for a shared code, which means that effective August 11th, which is when our code renews, Rogers Wireless will no longer support messaging on our code, which is a bummer because really I feel it's a step in the wrong direction for Canada, and Rogers is one of the largest carriers in Canada. Now, the other carriers have not indicated that they're going to do anything like that, so there's still support for the other carriers, but it is rather unfortunate that I think Canada's regressing with short code messaging. But like I said, we will maintain this number as an active code with the remaining carriers. And for those customers that are concerned about Rogers support that are in Canada, let's transition you over to a text-enabled toll-free number. So I think that will help resolve some of those concerns, and it'll be dedicated, which gives you a lot more flexibility in that as well. All right. Moving on, we're going to recap prohibited and restricted content on a regular webinar basis. It keeps coming up with questions with licensees that are asking, can I do this? Can I do that? And I feel like I'm being very repetitive, and so I apologize if this is stuff that you already know, but I feel it's of the utmost importance to talk about what you can and cannot do. So let's just quickly recap. Now, this is just a friendly reminder. So cannabis and CBD content is prohibited, not allowed by the carriers. And we do not allow it on shared short codes. In fact, we take a zero tolerance approach. So if we find a campaign on a shared short code that is doing CBD or cannabis content, we will turn it off first and then reach out to you and let you know why it was turned off. We do have some clients that are doing CBD content with the proper age verification when they're doing it using the opt-in filter. And some resellers have actually joined to split the cost of a dedicated short code for CBD content, okay, not cannabis, CBD. And so if anybody is interested in pursuing that, or at least joining in on that dedicated short code for CBD content, then we can reach out to us and we can have that discussion about what it entails and what the rules are. And we've reached out to our upstream partner and confirmed with them, given the nature of CBD, which is, federally legal but still murky in certain states, if we do things the right way with the proper age verification, are we okay? And they kind of green lighted it for us. So we don't want to jeopardize our shared shortcodes. We don't want to risk anything on our shared shortcodes, but on a dedicated shortcode, obviously we're much more receptive to that and approach. And so if anybody's interested in doing any type of CBD content on a dedicated shortcode and splitting the cost of that dedicated shortcode with the other licensees that have started doing that, then reach out to us and we can definitely have that conversation. And then as far as long codes and toll-free numbers, they have a filter system. So when you're sending a message on a toll-free number or a long code, that message is getting filtered for content. And you cannot mention any type of references to CBD and cannabis content in your message, or it could result in that message not only getting rejected, but also then something adverse happening to your code, your toll-free number or your long code, in which case it'll get flagged as prohibited content, and that long code or toll-free number will now kind of permanently get barred. So we don't want that to happen. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. Your clients don't want that to happen. So it's really just a matter of keeping your messaging very vague and generic and not making references to some of that prohibited content. And we don't know what's in that black box of prohibited content. We're assuming that there's certain terms and language that's prohibited. So we've kind of compiled a list for you. You'll be able to click on this link, and we also have made it available in the reseller portal, in the Google Drive, and then we'll put in the new support system as well, the new knowledge base section there. But it is in your Google Drive. So definitely recommend that you look at that list, that you adhere to it. And if you have any questions, any additional concerns, please reach out to us. We want to make sure you get it right. We don't want to have any issues with messaging getting rejected or failing due to content, and that obviously has kind of a more long-term effect on your toll-free number or your long code, so we want to ensure that your messages get delivered. All right, on to some fun stuff. So we have launched a new reseller support system and knowledge base. We've been working on this, and I really have to give tremendous credit to Lori and Juliet, who've just spent a considerable amount of time and energy piecing this thing together, redoing a lot of our tutorials with updated screenshots, trying to create new tutorials that are like how-to guides and things like that. So they've really done a tremendous job. And what we've done is we've launched this initially for resellers, and you're going to receive an email following our call. So Juliet and Lori will start initiating email invites to you following this call to join the ticketing software. So it is utilizing a third-party tool from Freshdesk. We've vetted different support ticketing systems out there, and we kind of settled on Freshdesk, and we really like their layout and the way that it's structured. And so, like I said, it is now live, so look for an email with your invitation coming up after the call. Now, we've only launched it for resellers at this point because we want to give you time over the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a shorter amount of time, but maybe through the end of July, just to familiarize yourself with it, get comfortable with it, and also bring anything to our attention that you think needs any type of revision or anything like that. So the support ticket system includes a ticketing portal and a knowledge base portal, and it's accessible when you log into your master account. And like I said, the user knowledge base will go live in 2 to 3 weeks. And the users will actually, your direct users, your clients, will continue using the existing support form. So they're not going to have a ticketing system. You are not going to have a ticketing system through ours because it's not feasible to use our Freshdesk account for your ticketing. We do have some clients that have pulled in their own Freshdesk ticketing systems, and we can definitely discuss how to go about doing that. But your clients will essentially just be using the current support form, and then the knowledge base will go live for them in a few weeks. And to access, so let me take a step back. So this is going to serve as kind of a centralized location for system tutorials, system updates like bug fixes, delivery issues, new feature additions, things like that. FAQs, We're going to eventually kind of roll in the reseller portal and the Google Drive into this new knowledge base portal. So stay tuned for that. We'll make sure we communicate that to you. And an online forum. So right now we have an online forum. Doesn't get much use. To be quite honest, I think some people are more receptive to using it than others, but we will eventually activate it within Freshdesk as well, and then everything will be in one centralized place. And what that looks like is when you click in your master account to your help and support section, your knowledge base, you'll have the knowledge base below. And then when you click on submit and view support tickets, it's actually going to go to a new window to your support portal. So unfortunately, Freshdesk did not give us the ability to actually iframe in the ticketing system right into the dashboard. We tried. It would have been really cool if we were able to achieve that. So when you do go to submit or manage your tickets, it will take you to a new window where you can log in and manage your tickets. And so this will, a lot of resellers have asked for the ability to track their support tickets, and this will give us everything we need in terms of maintaining the back and forth communication. You can add graphics. We can reference knowledge base articles in this. So very, very powerful portal, and we're really excited about it and definitely excited to get your feedback on it. All right, continuing along here, let's talk about new features and other projects in progress. So let's first talk about new features that are now live. So we have added MMS on 10-digit long codes and toll-free numbers, which is really exciting because we're kind of shifting that direction, trying to do as much MMS as possible, and so it's great. I think people are really excited to be able to do that, to send and receive MMS messages. So we're trying to encourage this push towards text-enabled toll-free numbers, which support the higher volume, and they could be dedicated. So you're going to have those same capabilities to do SMS and MMS on these 10-digit numbers. Also, really exciting, we added this yesterday. I know this has been a long time coming, but the ability to expire a coupon at the end of the day. I don't know why it took us so long to achieve, why it was so difficult, but I think once we kind of thought out of the box a little bit and we made it a priority, we just knocked it out. And so I'll give kudos to our development team for diving in there and just kind of knocking that out. I know it's been a request for God knows how long. But now when you go into your coupon details, into the expiration section, you'll have the ability to expire the coupon at the end of the day, versus at the same time that it was issued. So you'll have both of those options available to you. Obviously, the support tickets in the knowledge base section for resellers is now live. This is also an interesting request that's come in over the last few months or longer, which is the ability to clone and edit a target list. So when you create a target list, that's it. It's done. The target list is created. You can't modify that target list. And if you wanted to recreate that target list, you had to actually go, and if you had an elaborate target list, it would be a little time consuming to go through and rebuild that target list. So now we have a clone and edit feature. If you go into an existing target list and you hit clone and edit, then it will copy that target list detail, that configuration into a new target list. You can then make whatever designated changes you want to make, and then you can submit that new list. So I know that is a feature that will definitely streamline, make things a little bit more efficient for you. And then deleting contacts from imported files. So occasionally we get clients that email us and say, hey, I imported this file by mistake. I only want to delete the contacts from this file. We have to do that for you currently. So you would send a request. We'd have to do that for you in the database. It's a little bit of work, obviously, because it falls on our engineering team. So I went to our engineers. I said, give me a trash icon here on these imported files. And so now you can actually delete contacts specific to an imported file very easily from your import history page. And then another big push that we have about 10 or so licensees. We want to get everybody to do this, is private labeling additional URLs for your coupons, your short links, and your mobile web pages. We have the ability to set up private label URLs for all of these modules, which all utilize, rdm.mobi or swirlit or mpage.info. We can customize those for you. In fact, we prefer to do that I'll give you a perfect reason, a perfect scenario. We had clients that were sending out cannabis and CBD related content on toll-free numbers or 10-digit long codes with references to that stuff in the message with a link to a coupon that went to rdm.mobi. So the carriers looked at rdm.mobi and said, here's a link that's delivering cannabis content. Let's block this link. And so some clients have reported issues with rdm.mobi links and with Swirl It links on their coupons and in their messages on toll-free numbers. So just know that if you're going to use a toll-free number or you're going to use a 10-digit long code, we definitely want to have you with private label URLs. I think it's a good recommendation moving forward that everybody has their own private label coupon URL and private label short URL and even a mobile web page URL. We can do all three. I think the coupons and the short links are probably the most important ones to worry about. So get in touch with us. Let's get you the next steps to make that happen. We can do it very quickly. We plug it in and then you're in business, and then you have your own links to use instead of the rdm.mobi links, which, like I said, could present an issue on toll-free numbers and 10 DLCs as it pertains to getting messages delivered. So we'll email us support at, and then we'll follow up with instructions on how to go about setting that up. All right, that kind of covers projects that are live. And then projects in progress, we are working on a master reseller inbox. This is also, I know that there's kind of a group within the resellers that has indicated certain projects that they feel are priority. We're happy to do what we can to prioritize those projects. The master reseller inbox has come in as a request and basically allows you to aggregate all received messages from all your different user accounts so you can handle opt-out requests and handle other types of questions in one place. We're still working on this. I don't have a timeline for completion, but it is being worked on all the time. This here covers a question that came up in the chat, which is securing the redeem links. So coincidentally, in Canada, on a Canadian handset to a Canadian carrier, if you are going to send a message on a toll-free number or a 10-digit long code, the Canadian carriers want that link to be secure. Not the U.S. carriers. I don't know why the U.S. carriers treat it differently, but the Canadian carriers want to see that secure. So that is unfortunately not an easy task because we had to not only secure rdm.mobi, but we have to secure all the other private label coupon URLs that exist for the 10 or 15 licensees that have done that. And then we also have to now change the programming in terms of how those links get generated to include an S on the link, which also eats up another character, right? So we have to take that in consideration. Which messages have 0 characters remaining, and now this is going to potentially send it over the edge and cause something to get cropped off. So it's a little bit of a task. We are working on it, and it is a priority. Obviously, before our Canadian short code goes away on Rogers. So, the end date for that is August 11th. So, but we're trying to get that done here in the next couple of weeks to get these links secure. We have also been working on a waitlist functionality. A lot of clients have mentioned the need for managing people that are coming to a brick and mortar business, whether it's metered occupancy, curbside delivery, all kinds of different, restrictions and considerations to take into account with the check-in manager. So we've been expanding the check-in manager to encompass kind of a waitlist functionality that's still in the works. We have a handful of clients that are using it in a very, very limited kind of beta testing capacity. But if you give us a few more weeks, I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks, we can have some really nice functionality kind of fleshed out and ready to go for you, which I think people really, really like. And we're really excited about this because we really think it has, tremendous opportunity there and application there. And then we're working on a redesign of the text reminder system. So as you know, the text reminder system is rather outdated in terms of its aesthetic design. It's been on our list for God knows how long, a few years. And we have kind of spearheaded, or at least gotten started with designing it. So I'll share with you a couple screenshots of what that design is going to look like in its kind of infancy phases, but we're really excited about it. Not only will it be responsive, but we're also building additional functionality into the reminder system. So we want you to kind of forget what the text reminder system currently does, because it's not going to have the same restrictions. It's going to allow you to send out text blasts. It's going to allow you to attach coupons. It's going to allow you to use the check-in manager through the redesigned text reminder system. So it's almost going to I don't want to say it, but I'll say it. Replace the existing platform for the business owner. So the business owner is going to log into this new revised dashboard that's going to be just a little bit more seamless, and it will replace a lot of the stuff that you need from the regular platform. And to answer a question that came in here, while it's not going to have the functionality for the customer to schedule an appointment themselves, we are working on an integration through some third-party calendar systems out there. So I think you'll be able to bridge that gap between allowing the customer to schedule an appointment themselves and then pushing that calendar appointment into the text reminder system. And it will be responsive, 100%. And contactless check-ins, right? So, things have changed in the last 3 months, right? Since 2013, it was all about the kiosk, and that revolutionized the way that we did our businesses and the way that businesses built their databases. But as of March, people are very sensitive to touching digital screens now. I think some of that apprehension is I think people are kind of resuming their normal day-to-day activities to a certain degree, and maybe people might be more receptive to engaging with the kiosk. But for now, I think there's still kind of a sensitivity to it. So we are also working on some contactless check-in options for the kiosk, and these include really two directions. One direction is what we call two-factor authentication, and the other one is location verification. So the two-factor authentication will involve a person either scanning a QR code and going to a page on their phone where they then type in their number, and then on the kiosk screen, the kiosk will recognize that a phone number has been entered in through the phone, and will actually display a 4-digit code on the kiosk screen that the person then re-enters on their phone to confirm that two-factor authentication, and that will perform a check-in. And then secondly is a location verifier, and basically your kiosk will have a location component to it, and when a person checks in, they'll be able to scan a QR code, which will then bring them to a web page that detects their location and verifies that that location matches the kiosk location, and will perform a check-in. So these are the two directions that we are kind of leaning towards in terms of contactless check-in. It's not currently in development. It's something that we're trying to get to as fast as we can. I just want to set expectations, but it's really tough for us to just kind of drop everything and go in another direction all of a sudden. So we still have our pipeline of projects, and we're trying to obviously incorporate that in, knowing that this is probably something that will happen again in the future. So we want to be prepared for that. And then just a quick sneak peek of this TRS system redesign. So it will be responsive, mobile-friendly, tablet-friendly. This is kind of the tablet view of the conversation history, where you can click on a contact, see the contact details, see the conversation history. You can also be able to manage your message templates through here, and your reminder templates, and then you'll have the calendar functionality as well. And this will be more of the desktop view of that, but things are changing. Like this top menu is going to be on the side, and just little tweaks here and there. But I wanted to share with you kind of our initial design progress, so you can get a good sense of what we're trying to build. And I'm not sure if we're going to have, to answer this question that just came in, iframe capabilities here, but definitely the ability to customize the graphics, so that's the slideshow here for the reseller, so you can display different things that are relevant to you and your customers. Let me just go through the questions here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Is there a reason we're pushing toll-free versus 10 DLC? Yes. Toll-free numbers are considered A to P, application to person. They support high volume. 10 DLCs, 10-digit long codes, do not. Verizon has started what they call A to P messaging for 10-digit long codes, but by and large, 10-digit long codes are still perceived as personal numbers and do not have the volume capabilities. So anybody that's using a short code, that's using it for more than one-on-one messaging and sending out to a broadcast of at least 100 people minimum is going to need a toll-free number. Okay, and we can set that up for you, so you don't have to get your own. We don't do the voice, unfortunately, so you can, if you have an existing toll-free number or you want to register a new toll-free number and use that for voice, we can partition the text messaging side of things. So look at it as like two different features on the same number, and they can both be ported in different directions. So you can run toll-free voice through one provider and run the SMS and the MMS through us. Did you solve so I addressed the issue with HTTP links and HTTPS links in Canada, private label URLs, email us for instructions on that. We talked about scheduling an appointment. We talked about syncing. Oh, no, we didn't talk about so syncing a Google Calendar on the text reminder system. So we're not really going in that direction at this time with doing any type of sync. But if somebody wanted us to explore that as like a custom development option, then we can certainly look at doing that. But it's not part of our initial project, capabilities that we're building into it. It will be responsive. Currently, no plans to make the web form responsive. I'm not sure how much work that would be. It's on our list for sure. But I'm not sure how much work it's going to be yet, and I think we just had other things of greater priority, and I think people are still able to navigate the web forms by just, making them a certain width, depending on where people are going to be hitting them from, whether it's a desktop machine or a mobile number. Can you give an example of uses for the waitlist? So the waitlist functionality can really be used to do a lot of different things. I'll bring up my partner Derek, who owns a bar in Dallas as well, and they use it for the host stand to communicate with people when their table is ready. Right. So somebody comes in, the host types in their phone number and adds them to the wait list, and then when their table is ready, they send out a message. So it could be a queue system, it could be a waitlist system, it could be whatever you want to call it essentially, but it allows you to take in phone numbers in an order. It keeps track of how long they've been in the queue, and then you can send pre-canned messages to them, letting them know that you're behind, you're running late, or your table is ready, or whatever the case may be. So, I think there's a lot of different applications to a waitlist system. Even if a business is doing curbside pickup and things like that, there's applications where they want to be able to communicate with people one-on-one, and the waitlist kind of allows that to happen as well. So will come with the link to be used in iframe. Okay, we answered that. Can we use third-party QR codes on the contactless check-in? So I'm not sure if you can use third-party QR codes on the contactless check-in, because it's going to go to a very specific page. But I think if you have a third-party QR code system that lets you create a custom QR code that goes to a specific URL, then the answer is yes, because we're going to give you a URL, and however you want to get people to that URL to allow themselves to check in or to get added to the wait list, that's up to you, right? You can set a keyword and have people text in a keyword and get a message back that says, thank you, click this link to get on our wait list, or click this link to check in. Or you can do the QR code option. So I think the answer to that question is yes, because it should give you the ability of just setting the link for that QR code, and then everything else works. And I think that pretty much covers all the questions that have come in here. So once again, really appreciate everybody's time today. And I want you all to, let you know that we're here and we're available. Everybody's resumed normal operations, normal hours. So Juliette and Lori are both back to their normal hours. Everybody's kind of back in the office here and working away. So we're I think really excited about the progress. We have a lot more things on our list, and probably we'll be doing another call here in the next probably 2 to 3 months with some more stuff that's going to get launched. So we're going to keep plugging away. Thank you again. We'll send out the recording, and we'll also put it in the reseller portal in a couple hours. So thank you again for your time, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.